Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. I usually say it's been a good week in pro wrestling, but I think it's been longer than a week since I talked to you guys. Hold on, let me open my Liquid Death here, guys. As silly as this company is, and as silly as these cans are, I fucking love them. I'm trying not to drink beer. I'm trying not to drink soda. The carbonated water is a choice that gets me to not do either one of those things. And then the ironic like goth cans make it fun for me to drink this particular brand of carbonated water. But let's not talk about Liquid Death too much. It's not a carbonated water podcast. It's not a soda water podcast. It's a wrestling podcast. And what is sweeping the wrestling world right now? The White Rabbit. It's not Edge. It's not Bad Bunny. It's not the return of Adam Rose. It's not even Malachi Black. If you break down the HTML coding, it will give you the lyrics of Malachi Black's old NXT theme song, which who the fuck did all that? You think you're obsessed with pro wrestling, and then they start giving you clues in WWE Raw to figure out, and then you figure out who's really obsessed with pro wrestling. It's these people breaking down these codes. Thanks a lot for doing that. It better be Bray. It better be Bray. That's what I'm saying. If it's anyone other than Bray, people are going to really be disappointed. I've heard rumors that it is going to, they could create a faction with Loomis, Cross, and Scarlett, with Bray, being the leader. That would be cool, but I don't think people would really care too much if that doesn't happen. That would be kind of like just like a fun thing to bring up in podcasts, like, oh, they almost did something like this. But if it's not Bray at this point, people would be pissed. But I do think they need to pull the trigger on that soon. I know they're hinting at Extreme Rules. I think that's too long. I think you need to kind of like solidify that it'll be Bray sooner rather than later. SmackDown got a big boost in the rating. I think that rating will slowly go away if they don't pull the trigger soon. But either way, say it goes on a little too long for my personal taste. That's pretty nitpicky. This shit is awesome. It's like Marvel level good, but it feels real, which is exactly what wrestling does when it's at its best. Also, what wrestling does at its best is pull genuine emotions out of people, and who has done that more in the sports entertainment realm than celebrity boxing YouTube superstar Jake Paul facing Anderson Silva? I know this press conference was a little, happened a long time ago, or happened a while ago, probably before I recorded the last podcast, but I thought it was hilarious. I love Jake Paul. Him and MJF are tied for best heel in the game right now. Right behind him, you got to say Logan Paul. So you got to say the Paul brothers is probably the best heel faction in sports entertainment today. And here's another gem of a quote from Jake Paul. I'm going to treat him like a dickhead and knock him out, but I respect him. Talking about Anderson Silva. And then you hear Anderson Silva laugh like we all laugh at what Jake Paul says. And he goes, maybe not, I don't think so, which is hilarious. Maybe not. He tries to make a side bet with Anderson Silva, saying if he beats him, he's going to get a spider tattoo. Anderson Silva's like, I don't like tattoos, don't do that. And then he's like, okay, we'll come up with another side bet. Jake says that, he's going to beat him in 5 rounds. They take a picture with an older Brazilian lady. It's a good time. Logan Paul at the press conference, #1 contender for the WWE World title, getting in a photo with Anderson Silva. So who would have thought Jake Paul fighting Anderson Silva, and that is not the biggest fight that a Paul brother will have in the later half of 2022. I think this is a big fight for Jake Paul as far as publicity. Like, he's had 2 fights fall through. 2020 was his breakthrough year with, people watching the Tyson and oh shit, I can't remember. Don't make me think. We must have forgot, and we did forget. I know his rap song. I'm forgetting his name. I'm blanking on it. Roy Jones Jr. He came up through that, knocking out Nate Robinson. 2021 was his year, in the crowd. The Island Boys were in the crowd. He leaves. Triller and goes to Showtime. But 2022, he's kind of, leveled out a little bit. But I feel like if he knocks out Anderson Silva, that will send him into a great trajectory for 2023. But still, I think Logan Paul facing Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia is a bigger fight. But we're going to watch all of it. We're going to watch, November 5th, Saudi Arabia, and we're going to watch October 29th, Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul. Who will win? We will find out on those days. Something that we don't have to find out who's going to win and who's not going to win is GCW in LA. They went to Japan. They stabbed each other over there. I did not want to review those matches. I'll do it from time to time, but as I watch more of those shows and review more of those hardcore death matches, I have respect for the people that do it, but I'm just not entertained by it. It's just too much of the same thing. I don't even mind the violence as much as I mind the repetition. And there's a lot of cooperation between the two competitors, so much so that I get taken out of the match. And I understand they're doing these crazy stunts. So yeah, you'd want some cooperation. Like, you'd want to kind of touch base with the guy before he throws you through a bunch of panes of glass. I get why you'd want to do that, but it kind of just destroys what you're supposed to take out of wrestling while you're even watching it. But GCW did have a show in LA at the Ukrainian Culture Center, a really cool venue for pro wrestling, featuring the return of Jonathan Gresham, fresh off of wrestling on the same show as Ric Flair's last match, fresh out of yelling at Tony Khan in the back about bad booking, before Punk yelled at the Young Bucks, before Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews wanted their release but could not get it, before Miro and Anthony Ogogo were pissed about Luigi Primo on Dynamite. There was Gresham yelling at Tony Khan about the ROH title. He went up against indie golden boy Nick Wayne, the youngest wrestler to have ever signed an AEW contract, but yet has not had a match with AEW. Still taking the wrestling world by storm, 17 years old. This was a fun match. Gresham is honestly one of my favorite wrestlers. I do not give a fuck what theme park ride he's allowed to go on or not. He is one of my faves. He went after the arm of the youngster, then he locks in a figure four, stands up while the hold is still applied, and kind of just spins his body around, leans back, and pins the guy. 1, 2, 3. The kid got worked. This was a short but fun match. I think Tony Khan and myself might have underestimated how many people would have not known who he was when he went up against Cesaro or Claudio that night for the World ROH title, because they felt genuinely shocked about how his size. But I mean, where have you guys been? Living under a rock. Gresham is the man. It doesn't matter how tall he is. But that wasn't the main event. Briscoe's Mr. Flighter didn't get there or whatever happened. So the main event was Bussy, Effie, the gay wrestling superstar, and Allie, don't bring up the Hammerstein Ballroom GCW event booking catch versus the champions, the Mega Bastards, Alex Colon, and I'm blanking on his name, but Murdoch is his last name. Crowd behind Bussy, champs, the Mega Bastards, who attack before the bell. Then we got brawling, we got diving through doors, we got stabbing people with the pieces of the door once it breaks, we got choking with chairs, we got dicks getting wiggled in hardcore icons' faces, along with a sick double team move by Bussy. 1, 2, no. Challengers cannot put the champs away. Ladders come into play. Mega Bastards hitting a double team move on Alley Catch, and Alley Catch taps out. Fun match. GCW is fun when you just cherry pick what you want to see. So, I recommend any, WWE fans, AEW fans, New Japan fans, look at the GCW show and watch the first 2 matches, because they're usually pretty exciting. A lot of guys going out there and trying to make something of themselves, and then just cherry pick the show and see what sticks out to you, and you'll have a good time. Watching the whole show, you're going to see 1 or 2 things that just makes you want to turn the whole thing off and maybe forget about wrestling entirely for a few hours. But if you cherry pick what you like and figure out what you like, it's a pretty entertaining company. Another company that's pretty entertaining, Noah. They had a show since the last time we talked. Hayata won the GAC Junior title and then was challenged by Ninja Mac. I know I just said GCW is awesome. If you cherry pick what you like, and that's true, and I cherry picked Ninja Mac, crazy flipping ass. I liked him. He flipped his way into Noah and into my heart, and he got over in Noah. The Japanese fans seem to like him a lot. I mean, because this guy, he's shorter than Jonathan Gresham, I'll say that. He's plumpy, but he can do crazy acrobatic moves that, one more rotation than Phoenix can get in, one more rotation than Ricochet can get in. The sky is the limit for this guy. It's going to be exciting to see him get this title shot. I don't think he's going to win this title at this point, but I think a year from now, he's going to have this title around his waist. He needs to stick with Noah. I think he's also wrestled in AAA in Mexico, but man, I cannot. This is a really cool, almost borderline Cinderella story, seeing this kid wrestle in Noah. Muta and Fujita versus Funaki and Nakajima. Funaki and Muta wrestled each other in 1985, and here they are wrestling each other in 2022. Fujita was a Japanese national wrestling champion in 1993, and here he is wrestling in 2022. Nakajima didn't KO bitch slap anyone in this match, but he's done it twice this year. The bitch slap artist himself. So I was pretty excited about this match, given just the pedigree of all these guys. And Nakajima, he's put himself over. Shoot just slaps the hell out of people and knocks them out. Kicks the hell out of people and knocks them out. Fun to wrestle, probably not. Fun to watch at times, yes. Shocking to watch, noteworthy to watch, yes. But this match was kind of boring. Incredibly slow pace throughout the whole thing. Nakajima mocks Muta moveset by blocking the running knee and then landing, the Shining Wizard of his own. Muta lands a Shining Wizard, 1, 2, 3. Muta and Fujita get the victory here. More on Muta later, of course, as you guys know. But then we have the GHC World Heavyweight Championship match, Kenoh versus Kiyomiya. This match made up for the last match. The young upstart Kiyomiya picking up the pace right from the early going. Kenoh trying his best to hang with him to only slow down the pace. Strike battle, both men down. Double stomp by Kenoh, no one home. Battle goes to the floor. Back in the ring. It's like angels in the outfield. Kiyomiya is kind of just picking up the aura, picking up the moveset of Muta. But unlike the last match, he's not mocking the legend. He is nearly paying homage to the legend. Dragon Screw, Shining Wizard, 1, 2, no. Moonsault, double stomp again. Kenoh, no one home again. Running knee, both men down. Shining Wizard, both men down. Kenoh with a bitch slap. Kiyomiya with a drop kick, both men down again. Kiyomiya channels Muta again. The taunt and everything, doing the too sweet hand gesture, kissing the sky. Shining Wizard, 1, 2, 3, new fucking champ. Kenoh drops the title in his first defense. So Gresham's ROH title run doesn't really look too bad compared to Kenoh's title run here. But you gotta love Kiyomiya with the title. It's pretty cool. I know since Muta's had the title, a lot of people that have watched Noah for years have said that, there's too many old guys carrying around the belt. And, the old guys is what brought me into the company. So I can't really complain too much about the old guys having the belt. But it's still cool to see a young guy having the belt. It's a better story. And it's going to get me to watch more. Noah is, over the last 2 years, has been really fun to pick up and kind of figure out what's going on. And I fell in love with the company. It is a different style than even New Japan. So go out of your way to watch that. It's a lot of fun, especially if you like New Japan. It's just kind of like, another Japanese wrestling promotion, more or less. But speaking of New Japan, they had a show as well. Jay White and Ishimori versus Tama Tonga. I'm just going over the few matches from each show that I think is the most newsworthy. Tanahashi lost to Machine Gun Carl Anderson for the Never title. We'll talk more about the Never title and how it compares to other titles later on. But we did have Jay White, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and Ishimori versus Tama Tonga, the number one contender for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and Jado. Fun match, but honestly, it was a whole bunch of nothing because it was supposed to hype me up for the match on October 10th, Tama Tonga and Jay White. Recently, Tongaloa, the tall Ming's son, the youngest Ming's son, joined his brothers leaving the Bullet Club. Sick little angle. Look it up on Twitter. Look it up on YouTube. But this match was supposed to hype me up for this, this other match. But Jado taps out to Ishimori. Like, what are they setting up here? Like a nothing match, a nothing finish. This finish should have been on Raw 6 months ago. That's how little it accomplished. But then the main event, Will Osprey versus David Finley, IWGP US title. When this title was made 5 years ago, I would have never thought it would have main evented any show, much less been held by a former champion and main evented over the Never title. And no one would have ever told me that I would have not given a flying fuck over the Never title. I mean, back in the day, like, Ishii and Makabe, Ishii and Shibata. It was just the working man's title, the workhorse title, the strong style title, and it just kind of turned into really just nothing. I mean, I'm glad they combined the IC and world title, but maybe just bring the Never title into that fold as well, because it looks like they're pushing the US title. We'll get into that a little later. Lots of brawling in the early going of this match, setting up a table and setting the tone for the rest of the match. Osprey gets a powerbomb through a table, stunner from Finley. Can't put the champ away though. Oscutter blocked stunner, then lariat from stunner from Finley, lariat from Osprey, lariat from Finley countered into a Spanish fly by Osprey. Neckbreaker 1-2. Finley kicks out. Headbutt battle. Crowd behind Finley as he hits a stunner. Blade Runner 1-2. Stormbreaker 1-2-3. Will Osprey wins, but that's not even the coolest part. Naito comes out, then Zack Saber Jr. comes out. Long story short here, we have Naito versus Zack Saber Jr. having a match. Usually, I mean, they kill it in the G1, they kill it in the New Japan Cup, they kill it every time they wrestle one another, but they're having a match only to see who will wrestle for the IWGP US title. I would have never thought anything like this would happen. The best Cinderella story in wrestling is the IWGP US Championship. And then the winner of Zack Saber Jr. and Naito will go on and face Will Osprey. But moving on to AEW. I'm a little late putting up the show, so I'm not going to talk too much about AEW because in like 24 hours, we're going to have more AEW news. But I did want to go over Grand Slam a little bit and maybe my overall thoughts on Grand Slam. I'm not going to be ranking any matches this week. Jericho versus Claudio. First of all, goddamn, what a match. But Jericho wins the ROH title in true son of a bitch fashion. But then that begs the question, why put the belt on Claudio at all? If you're going to do this whole thing where Chris Jericho doesn't give a fuck about Ring of Honor, but he still has the Ring of Honor title. I mean, they even have him going up against Bandito. Are they going to have him going up against all the ROH champions and kind of playing into that lineage a little bit? It seems like you'd want him to beat Gresham, someone who is kind of associated more with Ring of Honor than Claudio is. And, I mean, I think Jericho's fans would have had, a field day kind of bringing up the same things that people brought up about Gresham in the Claudio match, but maybe have done it more in a clever way. And then, that could have pushed this storyline going forward with Jericho having the ROH title even more so. Swerve in Our Glory coming out with Fabulous to take on the Acclaim. The Acclaim coming out with DJ Woo Kid. The crowd was behind the Acclaim. Swerve in Our Glory, biggest poo-poo faces I've ever seen. Like, holy shit, you could just tell who was winning this match if the crowd didn't already, pretty much begged for it since they came out. There was a spot where they got a boombox and Swerve accidentally hit Lee with the boombox. That should have been the finish. So the real finish should have been Caster picking up Lee for the Hogan Andre spot at All Out. They didn't do that, and then they didn't even do the boombox spot here, which would set up Lee versus Swerve perfectly, but, I don't know what they're doing here. But at the end of the day, the crowd went fucking nuts when the Acclaim won. These two guys who have never had a WWE run and really probably weren't even in the fold for a title match or tag title run earlier in the year, here are the new champs. I mean, you had, all that mess with the Young Bucks. You had all that mess with, Jeff Hardy. But kind of coming out of that was just people's genuine love for the Acclaim, and you couldn't stop it. And it kind of shines a bright light umbrella over this tag division, where if this wasn't there, you'd kind of look back at the year 2022 AEW tag division and just think about all the flubs and missteps based on what people were doing backstage. So the Acclaim is literally saving this tag division right now for AEW, and I, for one, love it. Cassidy versus Pac, solid match, but wasn't as good as the last time they wrestled. Pac has 2 titles, and it feels like they don't know what to do with him. Gun Club interrupting FTR's promo. FTR has 3 titles, and it feels like they don't really know what to do with him. MJF comes out and just abuses Wheeler Yuta on the mic before W. Morrissey attacks Wheeler Yuta. Saraya comes out, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about whether or not, Saraya is going to move the needle. Probably not. But, I mean, if she's wrestling again, I do think that will get a little interest going in there. But, man, do they have some attractive ladies in this women's division now. Something that wasn't always true in the AEW women's division. So, fuck yeah, this women's division is looking good for the future. Darby's whole video package was really cool. Him carrying like a body bag through the streets of New York. I mean, just that visual, just really cool. Anything that Darby Allin does as far as video packages is really cool. You kind of get hooked. You kind of forget, or I forget that I'm really even watching wrestling. I feel like I'm like watching like Fuse or MTV2 from back in the day, or maybe like a movie that I was a little too young to watch. But, we watched it, kind of a thing. I don't know. Mox versus Danielson, second best match on this show for sure. I personally like Jericho versus Claudio more, but, I'm not going to argue with you if you like this match. I thought they were doing a thing where Danielson would win, and then it would slowly eat away at Mox, where Mox kind of goes full heel. But you know what? I mean, just like the Acclaim kind of having that light umbrella over the tag division, I feel like Mox has had that light umbrella kind of effect over this whole CM Punk Kenny Omega fiasco. And even, Hangman Page has even gotten caught up with that. So you want to kind of regain the respect from the fans and regain that reputation that this is a fans first promotion, and not just a bunch of prima donnas in the back. So putting it on Mox kind of delivers that to the fans. And you can't blame him for kind of doing that. Going to Rampage edition of Grand Slam, House of Black versus Sting and Darby. This match was not the best match on the show, but goddamn was it the most fun match on the show. Sting going through a table, almost missing it. Julia Hart going through a table and only connecting with her butt. But, you see like a butt print on the table, and then you see her head slip under the guardrail. The crowd is crazy. This spot is, this whole spot with Julia Hart was nuts. The Great Muta comes out and Miss Buddy Matthews into arguing with the dirt sheets and off of AEW television for the foreseeable future. And then you have Muta in AEW. That's cool. I'm down with a match. Hell, get Darby, Sting, and Allen and put those useless trios titles on them. I would love to see something like that. I don't even give a shit. Just let's get Muta and Sting in a tag match before Muta retires. Action Bronson was cool to see in AEW. My only takeaway was seeing JR's reaction to Action Bronson performing. It was just the most unenthusiastic wow that you would ever get after, like, he cuts these bars. He's performing Hook's theme song. I don't think anyone ever told JR, like, this is the guy who does the theme song for Hook, because all he could say was wow every time. It was hilarious. Joe and Wardlow teaming up, these guys look cool as hell together. I think this kind of helps push Wardlow along, because you had to even bring it up on the TV show. He was losing a lot of momentum. Jungle Boy versus Phoenix was a good match, but didn't really stand out. Kingston and Sammy Guevara was a good match, but they should have done it on the pay-per-view when it had steam going into All Out, with all the dirt sheets and everything. The delay kind of killed the vibe. Diamante versus Jade. Diamante hypes up that she's bringing the baddest bitch from the 305 for weeks, only for it to be 2000's rap queen, hilariously enough, Trina. And then Trina just turns on her, joining Jade. I would too. You look at Jade, you look at Diamante, you see Jade every week on TV, you see the baddies every week on TV. We knew Trina was a baddie for decades, but now it's official. This Battle Royal was pretty good too. I'm a sucker for a Battle Royal. No Miro, but we did see Brian Cage, which that kind of shows you that Miro must be in the doghouse, because they kind of just don't ever use him. He's on Twitter talking shit. And Brian Cage, who's usually, has been in the doghouse for like over a year now, is seemingly out of the doghouse, appearing on Dynamite for the first time in a while. Pretty interesting. Hangman wins by hitting the Deadeye to Roosh in the final two. These guys look like they could probably kill it in a one-on-one match. We'll have to see. And then Hobbes versus Starks. Great match. Starks is one of the most underrated guys in AEW. The sky is the limit for this guy. He can do this high-flying stuff, but he's smart enough to kind of slow it down and stand out on a show full of high-flying stuff. He's tall, so you won't get all the casual fans trying to Gresham him. And he, is almost as good on the mic as MJF. He could probably even give CM Punk a run for his money on the mic. Push this guy, have him beat Hangman, have him beat, anyone you can. Hobbs is a cool, wrestler and everything, but I want to see this guy move along quick. Maybe kind of realize that he's the Jungle Boy you're looking for and stop pushing Jungle Boy so much, because I think Jungle Boy has, he takes the charisma away from Captain Charisma Christian. I'll say that right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Fly high. I'm out.